Welcome to this week's episode of Body Image Confidential. This is a weekly series where I answer viewers' questions and challenges that come up around feeling at peace in their body. So this week's question came from Donna, and Donna has a teenage daughter, and her daughter started to notice that the boys in her school tend to like girls who are thin and wear crop tops, and they're calling them baddies and hot, and she has a rounder stomach, and so now she believes that boys aren't going to like her because she's bigger, and she's starting to feel really sad about that and hate her body. And Donna was asking if I could speak to that, particularly what I might say to her teenage daughter, and also perhaps maybe to Donna who's having to navigate this challenge. And so I can understand how tough that is, and I think that, a lot of us probably would have even gone through some of that ourselves when we were in high school. I don't have a teenage daughter yet, so I haven't personally gone through this, so I can't speak from experience, but I can certainly tell you what is coming up for me right now that I would share. So the first thing that I would tell your daughter is that we live in a culture, unfortunately right now, that has this belief that thin is good and fat is bad, and that's not true. It might be hard for her to understand because she's going to be seeing it everywhere and she's being conditioned with it, but I would really want her to start to see that just because we have a belief about something and that a lot of other people believe it too doesn't actually mean that it's true. And most particularly to notice how does the belief make you feel? So this is going to be the key. So just because a whole bunch of other people may believe something to be true, we're all kind of suffering under it if it feels bad in some way. So this idea that thin is good and fat is bad, we might say, oh, well, if I was thin, then I would feel good. So how is that negatively affecting me if I'm thin? Well, it negatively affects people who are in thin bodies too, because now they're afraid of becoming fat. So they don't get to be free, they don't get to be peaceful, and especially if they think they need to stay thin, they're not going to really be able to listen to what feels good to them in terms of what they want to eat or what they want to do. They're going to just be so focused on their appearance and their body, and that creates stress and anxiety. So nobody actually feels peaceful or good with this belief. So I want you to first just draw this attention and idea that this is a belief, not the truth. Secondly, and I'm going to continue on with that line, but I want to tangent for a second. I would also want you to say, do you really want to be, do you really want a boy to like you just because of how you look? And the same goes not just for boys, but also for adults too. Do we really want to be with somebody who mainly only likes us because of how we look? And this I have a personal experience with that I want to share. When I got out of university, I was in a group of friends and there were some guys there, and I was in my normal average size body, and then I was really focused on wanting to lose weight and be thin. So I did, and I lost weight, and I noticed that these guys now who were in my friend group started paying attention to me. They all of a sudden, were asking me out and started to want to date me. And in fact, one of them even so blatantly said, "We talk about how hot you are now." And I remember thinking, in one way there was part of me that felt good about that, but the other part of me felt sad because I was like, well, I've always just been me. The only thing that changed was my body. And so I actually kind of respected these guys less, not more because they were paying attention to me, but because it made me realize they were just really superficial. And so why would I all of a sudden want to be interested in dating them now just because they all of a sudden pay attention to me more now because I'm thin? So I gain weight and what? They're going to say, see you later? So the interest level in me was never then about who I am as a person. It was always just about my appearance. And so when we try to change our body in order to, gain approval from somebody else or get their interest, and we're not being true to ourselves, that's never going to sit well with us. And we're never going to be able to be free because we're going to be trapped in needing to maintain this body size in order to retain this approval, which is a fleeting approval anyways and has no real depth. So I would ask, like, do you really want to be with somebody who just cares about you because you have a small stomach? Like, is that what a relationship is? No. So the more that your daughter can start to feel okay in herself as her is and realize that these beliefs that we've all been conditioned with are crappy, and they say nothing about who you are, and it's so superficial. And I would even just be like, do you really want to care? Like, why do you care so much if all they care about is looks? Like, whatever. And I get, here's the thing about, teenage years, as we all know this, you're going to say whatever you can say and she's going to hear it or not. All right. So we can't make other people see what we want them to see. She may need to come to this own conclusion in her own way when she gets older. We don't know. We don't know what she needs to experience or what she needs to go through, but it's such a huge benefit to her to have a mom who's willing to have this conversation with her and get down to the nitty gritty versus, those many of us who grew up with moms who were in it themselves and, would have maybe said, yes, you should lose weight because of that, which I know still happens to this day. So the fact that you're even willing to have this conversation with her is huge. Will she be able to take it and internalize it right now? We don't know, but you can just only do your best. Another thing that I would recommend to her is I love this exercise. It's something an exercise I do for myself. I recommend it to my clients that I'm working with, is to do this journaling exercise where I want you to ask her to write a letter to a imaginary best friend and do it on pen and paper, like in a journal. So not a real best friend that she has, but just a fake one. And I want, encourage her to write whatever she's going through right now, how she feels about her body, how she feels about the boys, everything. And then I want you to ask her to reply to that letter from that fictitious best friend. So that best friend read everything that she said, and now she's going to reply to her to what she just said. And that is such an amazing exercise to really tap into your true self, your higher self, your inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it, and hear what it thinks. Because here's the key. How you feel is your indicator of what's true for you or not. So if you're feeling bad, if you start to think, I'm not good enough because my belly's big, something's wrong with me because of it, and the boys don't like me, I'll never find anybody, I'm not attractive, whatever, that feels bad. All of us could feel, if you thought this for yourself right now, you would feel bad. That is actually your deeper self, your higher self, your inner wisdom telling you, I do not agree with that. Sorry, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. All of those things you're thinking right now, they're BS. That's how you know. You feel bad. So then you need to start to notice, okay, well, when I start thinking thoughts about myself, what feels better? Could it be something like, my body doesn't define my worth. My body doesn't define my attractiveness. Just being myself means I'm going to attract, if she's thinking about wanting to have a boyfriend or something, going to attract the perfect person for me, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter what these thoughts are that come, they're going to be unique to you, but the ones that feel better, that's how you know they're in alignment with the truth. So telling her that could be something as well, because did any of you hear that growing up? I didn't hear that growing up, but and I say this for you too, for anybody who's watching this. Whatever thought is going in your head about your body, about yourself, and it feels bad, it is not true for you. Full stop. Okay? So, Donna, that's what I have to offer to you today. And hopefully there's something in there that you can share with your daughter. For those of you who are really interested in challenging these negative beliefs, okay, so these beliefs that just feel so true, It's like, okay, I know they feel bad. You're telling me it's not true, but I have a really tough time not believing it. I want to let you know about a Body Peace community talk. These are new. I'm running the second one. It's next month. It's on Sunday, September 14th, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So it would be like 11 Pacific, 7 p.m. UK, where I'm going to be sharing a really powerful tool to question these stressful beliefs. And I call them stressful. Anything that feels constricted, tight, limiting about you. I'm going to share that in this talk. They're a donation-based event. So it's $5 minimum donation. So I want to make this as accessible to as many people as possible. So if in some way you struggle with these critical thoughts about yourself and you're open, openness is the key, to seeing something different about it, I encourage you to register. I will tell you that. Now I'm just thinking about like, how can you register? I'm going to put in the comments in here, or in the caption, I'm going to put how you can register. So make sure you check out the caption. I'm going to have like a word you can comment, and then I'll be able to send you the link to register. Okay. So I highly encourage you to come to that talk, to register for it. Donna, you might want to register too, because this can be a really good tool that your daughter can learn as well to use when those thoughts come up. Okay. You're doing awesome, Donna. So glad that your daughter has a mom like you who's willing to challenge these beliefs and tell her that, you know, her belly size says nothing about her, and that the more positive beliefs she is believing about herself that feel good, the more she's onto what is actually true for herself. All right. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you have a question or a challenge around making peace with your body that you'd like me to address in an upcoming episode of Body Image Confidential, send me a DM and share with what your question is, and I'll answer it in an upcoming episode.